na kukaribisha kwenye mlima wa Mungu. Uko kule Thika Sarama Estate, ukipita pale Ananas Mall kwenye barabara ya Garissa, stage inaitwa Kwaheri, Mount Zion Prayer and Retreat Center. Ikiwa unataka chumba chako peke yako, watu wawili, watu wanne na hata kikundi, tunakukaribisha. Vitu vyote ambavyo unatumia kule kwenye mlima tunapeana. Mount Zion Prayer and Retreat Center. Ikiwa ungalipenda nambari ya simu 0797953840. Mount Zion Prayer and kwenye mlima tunapeana. Mount Zion Prayer and Retreat Center. Ikiwa ungalipenda nambari ya simu 0797953840. Mount Zion Prayer and Retreat Center. Karibuni.
Are you a man or a woman with a passion to become someone great? Do you dream of creating a legacy, a story to be emulated with men and women all over the world? Ladies and gentlemen, a happy Monday to you. Welcome to Rise and Thrive, the show where ambition meets action, and I am your host, Sila. Join us every week on Rise and Thrive as we dive deep into personal success stories of men and women who dared to dream big and, of course, turned their visions into reality. And so, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, this day I have a very beautiful guest with me on set. A woman who has made strides in the entrepreneurial world, has been able to build from nothing to something, and I want her to share with us her personal story, of course give you guys insights of her journey, and of course sell her brand to you so that you can get to know both the personal side and also the product itself. So karibu sana, Madam Jane. Maybe you can go ahead and introduce yourself so that our viewers can get to know you. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much for having me, Faith. I'm really excited to be here this morning, and I look forward to very fruitful and engaging conversations with us and with you and with our viewers. My name is Jane Ndanu. I wear many hats, but I think today we will focus on publishing, the one for publishing. So Jane Ndanu is a mother to two beautiful children, two girls. I'm a wife. I am an entrepreneur, but I also am a consultant. I'm a poet, a writer, a publisher, quite a number of things that I do, and I'm passionate about all of them. It's a bit interesting, striking a delicate balance. Yeah. But so what do I start with? Let me start by, first of all, saying that I work for an ICT consulting firm known as ICT Mentor Solutions Limited. And at ICT Mentor Solutions Limited, we partner with organizations in their journeys, digital transformation, offering solutions in global framework implementations, IT service management, ISOs in information security, cyber security, ICT governance, business architecture, and other areas. So we're talking about stuff like implementation of ITIL, COVID 5, ISO 27001, among others. But today I am here majorly to talk about my journey in the publishing, in the writing and publishing industry. I am an author of several Christian books. Wow. Yeah, I started writing over a decade ago, and that was a dream born in the trenches. And possibly that is because that would be quite inspirational to someone, especially who's going through the valleys and wondering whether they could rise again. That would be a good listen. So yes,
amazing.
That's a little about myself.
Amazing. I'm sure our viewers are so much excited. I mean, you're a powerhouse, Jane, and we are so happy to have you here. We know a couple of people are very much curious to know how you've stumbled onto all of these things. And we're going to also get to you telling us as to why you chose to talk about the publishing area, as we have seen you're a powerhouse in different things. But choosing that part, I know there is something that draws you more to that side. And we're going to be so happy to get to know more and more about that side of you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let us just jump straight into it. And as you know, on Rise and Thrive, it's not just about the business aspect. We also thrive to inspire. And so we're going to start with your story. Maybe tell us, who is Jane Ndanu? Where did she start from? Where was this young girl before? Before there's a woman, there's a young girl. So we want to know, where was Jane born? And talk to us.
All right. So Jane was born in Meru.
Mm-hmm.
Born and raised in Meru.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I went for my high school and my primary school.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was growing up as a young girl, I thought of the one thing that I wanted to become when I grew up was a medic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Why
more
so?
Specifically a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I was envisioning a career that would help me, that would not just be a money generating career, but one that would place me, that would give me a one-on-one service delivery to people, and would be a form of helping people rise from their pain to healing, to just see lives transformed. Of course, in medicine, you will still have people that will get the best of treatment, and somehow it's their time to exit.
Yeah.
So they will, but I was envisioning something that would help me help people.
Oh, wow.
Yes, just get from some space of discomfort to a space where they can thrive and live.
Amazing.
Yeah, so interestingly, when I was in high school, when we were choosing our careers, well, medicine was top on the list, but I remember our career director advising me at some point that to consider the what ifs of life. What if I don't become a medic? What else would I become? And so my choice number 1 was medicine, number 2 nursing, number 3 I was envisioning something in the media space. I wasn't quite sure, it wasn't clear to me what that would exactly be like. But I thought I could be in the media space. Not sure as who or as what, but so.
Okay.
My third choice was information sciences, because it had some bit of journalism in it, some bit of media studies in it. And so when I sat my Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, I didn't get the scorecard, the cluster points to allow me join medicine, and I missed nursing by 1 point, so I was very disappointed, and yeah, for some time my mind switched off, so I wasn't really keen to pursue anything else if it's not medicine, and so I tried different avenues. I was willing to join from 5 and 6 different education system from what we had in the Kenyan system, so I could just graduate to taking medicine or do something different. But again, after consulting and after calming down, I thought maybe, just maybe, I could give the information sciences a shot. Now, to take you back a little, I lost my dad while in Form 3, and he was the sole breadwinner. So at this point, as I juggled with the ideas of switching careers or joining university to pursue what I was admitted to do, at the back of my head, I knew Mom was sort of struggling to keep us in school, and I wasn't keen to make her struggle worse. So I thought, let me just jump in and do what is available.
Yeah.
I'll get to know what it is all about.
You're the
as I
first
proceed.
one?
No.
Okay.
No.
You carry the hat of a first one. That's why I had
apparently
to
I'm the
ask.
last. I'm second last, and I'm the last daughter. I'm the last daughter of my parents. Yeah, we come from a big family. We are more than 10, so
Wow.
yeah, I have elder siblings ahead of me. So back to the information sciences. I had a few weeks to join. Left to join university, and I remember mom asking me whether I was set to go to school, and I said yeah. Like yeah. What other options did I have? So I joined university, and I tried inquiring a little more about information sciences, and the first person I landed was a librarian. Well, I loved books, I loved reading, but I never envisioned a career in library. Funny enough, during my 4th year, I chose to specialize in librarianship. So information sciences had 4 different sections to it. There was media studies, there was publishing and media, then we had IT, we had librarianship, and then we had archives and records management. And you would specialize, you would take all the modules and specialize when you get to your 4th year. So in my 4th year, I specialized in librarianship, and I remember taking a project in developing tertiary level libraries for the visually impaired and people with hearing disabilities. That was my area of project. But after that, when I finished just a few months, 2 months to clearing my 4th year, I fell sick.
Really sorry.
Just some slight headache, check into the campus dispensary. My blood pressure is a bit high, a little higher than normal, and I never envisioned anything unusual to unfold. But what started as something mild would take a toll on me, and I had to defer my studies for more than 1 year, for about a year. When I resumed, I was still on medication, and after I graduated, I couldn't take up an 8 to 5 job. I couldn't go out there and work. So I was on medication. The medicines were the effects were just taking a toll on me. And I found myself grounded, which was so unlike me. Yeah, if you want me sick, lock me up in a room and let me not exit. I'm so extroverted naturally. I love being out there with people, doing stuff. So I found myself in a space where I was locked up, and because doctors were trying to get to the bottom of what exactly was ailing me, but my blood pressure was consistently high.
So it wasn't like they hadn't figured it out?
They hadn't figured out, because all the tests, all the major tests would show nothing. They were negative. So just trying to figure out exactly what is happening. Nothing physiological. They couldn't. I was sent to psychiatrists, psychologists. They couldn't pick any stress-causing factors. So I was advised to take a break from anything, especially studies, or anything that would be stressful, either to the mind or to the body. And that's how I deferred my studies. And so, since I was a teenager, I would do something on my birthday, just to mark my birthday. Sometimes it would be a visit to the sick in the hospital. Sometimes it would be a visit with the elderly or children's home or something, just something to appreciate life and give back, especially to the less fortunate. And so I'm turning 24, and on my 24th birthday, I can't leave the house. I'm on medication. My body is very weak. Because of the effects of the medicine I was taking, my mind was also getting affected in some way. So I was losing my memory, and so I had to be under supervision. I had to stay with somebody. And so I'm just sitting and wondering, God, what do I do on my 24th birthday? I can't go out there to visit someone who's sick. This time I'm the sick one.
Oh my God.
And so an idea dropped in my mind to write a book.
Oh, wow.
It sounded weird because I had done a few articles, but I had never thought of writing a book.
Yeah.
But given that I had all the time, and of course in my healing journey, part of what I would do was journal a lot. And so I just think, well, it's something I can do while indoors, so why not give it a shot? So I start writing. I get a blank book and a pen, and I just start writing down ideas. Funny enough, that's how my first book was birthed.
Oh, wow.
So I started writing it on my birthday. I think I stayed up the whole night, wrote through the night. Then on the morrow, I slept a little. Then I woke up and did 2 more chapters. I did 5 chapters of a book and then 2 more chapters. And then I started going through the manuscript, editing it, just internalizing it. It felt therapeutic to write, but also the kind of stuff I was writing, I think, was divinely inspired. So I would also find it enriching, reading through it. And at this point, I had a thought of publishing. So after a couple of days, I talked to one of my brother-in-laws who was also writing, and he said, I actually asked him to check through what I had written, and he was quite excited. And he said, this is a really, really good read.
Wow.
So that gave me lots of encouragement, and so I thought I could just ask my friends to contribute kidogo manizi and there, so I could do the publishing. And they were excited because most of my friends knew I was sick and I was at home, and so I think they also came from a place of empathy. And just supporting someone who's going through a crisis. So that's how my first book was birthed. After about a year, I went back to university, and that's where I launched it. The reception was great, and I thought this was my first and last book. But interestingly, that was the start of a journey that would unfold in so many ways. The feedback from readers was humbling, to say the least.
What was the name of the book?
My first book was called In Pursuit of Him.
In Pursuit of Him.
In Pursuit of
Very
Him.
powerful.
And I think it gave me lots of purpose, because by the time I'm writing this book, I'm at the verge of giving up. I'm not sure what my life will turn out to be.
How was
my
your
medical reports were not very exciting. So actually one of the chapters in the book is entitled When I Die. Because at that point I'm looking at life and I'm thinking it's a gift from God. I'm not sure how long we get to live. But I'm like, the day, if God chooses to take me home, fine, but I would have left some legacy behind. But if He gives me more years to live, then I think I want to live purposefully. So
Oh, wow.
So
I really love the name of the book, and I feel, as you were just talking about the story, do you feel like that was the time where God revealed your purpose? Because God sometimes can put us into situations whereby He allows us to be still and not be in pursuit of so many different things, because we cannot, as you said, pursue Him if we have so much noise around us. So do you feel like that particular moment was the defining place where you felt like this was something that God was calling you to do, even though you were not sure that it was the main thing, since you were in university, but you were doing something totally different, But now here is a situation has just come out of nowhere, and it's now forced you to sit in stillness. Do you feel like that is a time where God was basically pushing you into your ministry? Because I feel like that's a ministry.
I would say yes. I would say yes, because at this point, remember, I've been unwell for some time, and everything, all the energies, even in my prayer life, have been focused on being well. Lord, heal me. But this time, even when God is inspiring the title for the book, I'm not rising from that space of healing as a destination to what it is that God could be birthing out of this.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at pursuing not just the blesser, not the blessing but the blesser, not the gift but the giver, not just the healing but the healer.
Oh, wow.
So I'm looking beyond my current needs to an eternal God. I'm seeing an eternal God who thinks in the light of eternity.
Yeah.
Placing me in a situation that's sort of temporal, but I'm not sure whether it's temporary at this point. But I'm seeing him birth something that will outlive that situation.
Yeah.
And so my focus is shifting slowly from what God can do or what I want him to do for me to who he truly is.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, remember I'm writing this on my birthday, so I'm also looking back at the years past, and I'm looking ahead with lots of hope and confidence that whether he does it or not, he's still God, and so I want to pursue him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say that was the beginning, that was the birth of a ministry. And by the time I'm getting to 4th year, I knew there was ministry in me, and I was the kind of a person, even during my campus years, who was not keen to serve in what we would call a pulpit ministry.
Wow.
Not in praise and worship, not in, not in ushering, where everybody is seeing me. I chose the sound ministry, where I would be hidden somewhere in the sound room and stuff would still be happening. But at this point, I also see God sort of bringing me to limelight, and I'm like, no, I do want to write a book. At some point, I remember arguing with my designer that, is it possible to have my book without my name on it? And he said, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That can't happen. Because I felt like I really do want to come to limelight. But yes, that was indeed a birth of something greater than I thought or knew.
Yeah.
Yes, and looking back through the years and how God has used the writing journeys and also the publishing bit coming to be birthed later. Yes, I look at that as a tool in God's hands that has seen lives transformed in ways that I never envisioned. Yeah.
Wow, that is so beautiful. And I was just thinking, because we came to the birthday point. Guys, this story is very interesting, and I'm also encouraged because most of the times when people are going through things, they run from God. But here you are telling me you're in a situation which is sort of looks like a death sentence, and you're writing a book in pursuit of him. You're pursuing God, whilst people would be running and choosing to shun him because they're going through issues. So we are now on your 24th birthday. When did you happen to stumble upon God the Redeemer, God the Restorer, God the Healer?
That's an interesting question because it took another so many years, well, not so many years, but a couple of years for me to be well. And apparently, that is how my second book, The Dynamics of Prayer, was birthed.
Wow.
Because before then, I was looking at prayer in light of me asking God to do something and him responding instantly, you know. He's a father. Why would he watch me suffer?
Yeah.
Why would he allow this sickness to come? But I think in that journey of pursuing God, and while asking him to do this for me and him not really doing it for me at that particular point and giving me the grace to go through the season shifted how I saw God, shifted how I thought about prayer, shifted my mind on focusing so much on the devil and the demons and what he's doing. I didn't care what the devil is doing. Let him do whatever he's doing. I'm a child of God, and this is not catching God by surprise. I'm sort of derailed from what I envisioned to be my journey. It's a detour of sorts. But right in that detour, I found purpose.
Oh, wow.
In the pain. I think what was birthed in the pain was purpose. What was my heart slowly moved from questioning God and finding the wise to asking Him to hold me up. At some point in my book, I mentioned that when we trust God, we realize that it is not us who are doing the holding. You know, we keep saying that we are holding on to God, but as we trust Him more and more, we realize it is actually the one holding us up.
Oh, wow.
So I think I moved from that space of the desperation of waiting. In the waiting, I got renewed, literally. You know, those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. In the waiting, I got renewed. In the waiting, my mind shifted from my problems to who God truly is. And one of the things I came to appreciate most was His sovereignty. Knowing that I could still pray for a sick person and they die and God doesn't change. You know, you could still ask God to give you this and He gives you the other, or He just goes silent. But His silence doesn't mean that He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like His timings are not His ways are not my ways, His timings are not my timings. And what seemed like a death sentence, as you put it, brought about the power of resurrection.
Oh, wow.
Because it was in the depth of the valleys, the trenches, that then I could see that scriptures like, you know, everlasting arms holding us, you know, underneath me are the everlasting arms. And so I realized no matter how low I sink, beneath me are the everlasting arms. That's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yeah.
And God is enough. I think God just became enough.
Yeah.
And I started digging deeper into the lessons, the what could be birthed out of this.
Yeah.
As opposed to what I am standing in, what kind of pain and despair and everything I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, there's no glory without a story, you know. You have to trace someone's scars, and that's why here at Rise and Thrive, we don't just come to give you the bigger picture of how people have found success and everything, but we like to trace scars. You know, someone once said, do not trust a man who does not have scars. People who just wake up one day and they have money, they have all this fame, they have all the success. We want to know, where did you start from, you know? And your story has been so inspiring. Now, you've written 2 books, right? We've gotten to the place you've written now 2 books, In Pursuit of Him and The Dynamics of Prayer, right? So I want you to maybe talk to us, what was the defining moment where you got to a place now? Because we've shared with you guys, she has over 50 published books, right?
Yeah, by different authors.
By different authors, yes. So I want you to maybe speak to us, what was the defining moment? Because at this point, books are being born out of you, but it is out of a season. But you're no longer in that season right now, and you're still doing it. So what was the defining moment that made you realize, you know what, maybe this is something that is not just for a season because I'm going through something. This is something that God intends me to do. What was the defining moment?
Well, I wouldn't say that it was a dramatic event, like curtains drawn and something happening and lights flashing,
Purpose
or
is there.
thunderstorm and rain and hailstorm. So it was more of a stretch. It was in that season that I found that deep fulfillment. And how it came was not through people that I knew giving me feedback on what they had possibly drawn from my books. It was still in the season of highs and lows, and I would get to the lows of life and wonder whether this is where I was really meant to be, in pain, confusion sometimes, and wondering, looking at my colleagues that we had gone to university together with, and seeing their lives thriving. I quote unquote, because sometimes what we interpret as thriving may not be the thriving. And looking like I'm stuck, not making any strides in life. And so I would think in the lows of life and wonder, is my life adding up to anything? Is this where I was meant to be? And in those moments when I would be at the verge of giving up, I would receive strange calls from people I knew nothing about. I remember one of those calls came from someone in Brazil, and the same I've read through your book, and I am so touched. I am so drawn to God. I am so inspired. It's breathed new life to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm calling you because I want to know the will of God for my life.
Wow.
And I'm like, wait, Ndanu, sit back. Do you know the will of God for your life, for you to tell this guy the will of God for his life?
Yeah.
But anyway, getting such feedback would get me to that space of fulfillment. Now, would it focus? I would stop focusing on the pain and the detouring and the derailing and everything, and get that quiet peace that says, girl, you're on track. God's got your back. You're still doing what you were meant to do. You're touching a life. You're not in medicine, but here is someone living again after reading your book.
Oh, wow.
You're
so
not...
God was calling you into healing?
Yes,
this is so
I would
interesting.
I would call it a wounded healer, like I've read in some book, where God is still using your wounds to heal someone else, or your scars to heal someone else. And I'm like, God, you're so interesting. You have a sense of humor, because should I read my book again to get the kind of feeling this person has? So since seeing people inspired, and then additionally, it also became a source of income, because when I was writing initially, it was birthed out of a passion, out of some response to that inner voice. I wasn't looking at how many millions I would make, how much money I would make out of this. But slowly and steadily, it became a source of income. So I stopped feeling bad that I wouldn't take up employment like my colleagues. And what I was doing was touching lives and still able to foot my bills. And so that would eventually graduate to my wanting to, what you're calling a defining moment. I kept gaining clarity. And so around 2014, I started, I'd come across people who want to write books, and they would come to me, who did your books? And then I would remember, I'm the one who did my books. Of course, I would give them to other people to look through them. But given that these are books that are touching people across the globe, the presentation, everything was exciting to the readers. I thought to myself, that's at this point, I remembered that I am also trained in this field. It's part of the training I did in my college life. And so looking back at the disappointment of not becoming a nurse or a doctor, because I remember when I was selecting my courses, I also prayed about it. And I was like, God, I pray that I'll land in some career that will eventually help me to serve people. And so looking back, I was feeling fulfilled that much as I didn't become a doctor, now I can help people birth dreams into existence. I can go a step further from just being a writer to helping other upcoming writers realize their dreams. And that would give me great fulfillment. Just seeing the excitement, just seeing them, when you're an author, and your book is sitting on someone's shelf. You're like seated somewhere with someone talking to them. Yet you're not with them. So just seeing that happen and people's dreams birthed to reality was so exciting. So fulfilling, to say the least. I felt like a midwife, just helping people, giving people wings to fly, helping people birth their realities, their dreams into realities. And I tell people, books reach spaces in the world where you've never envisioned visiting or ever traveling to. So just the thought of it would be so fulfilling, fulfilling. And additionally, it would give me flexibility. So I didn't have to fight the traffic jams, get to the office. I'd still sit at the comfort of my couch or in my room. I love reading, so I'd still be reading, doing what I love doing, while impacting lives through it and earning from it. So that was fulfilling.
You know, I'm just listening to you, and as you said, God really has a sense of humor. And I just realized, as much as you're saying you didn't become a doctor, that was God's intention for you, but He was going to do it His way. You are a doctor. Actually, you are a doctor because you're telling us stories of how people have received healing from reading your books. You understand? So I feel like God did want you to achieve that purpose, but in His own design. It was not all about going to a hospital, you know, learning how to administer medicines for different diseases and everything, but it was through His own design, you know. And so I'm trying to understand, maybe you can share with us, what are some of the highs and the lows that you have experienced in your publishing and writing journey? You know, with every great entrepreneur, with every great visionary, there's always highs and lows that people have to undergo. Again, those are the scars that birth the glory that comes later on when God now decides to glorify Himself, you know. So what are the highs and the lows that you've had to experience? Maybe you can share with that.
Well, that's quite interesting. I'd say even the things that we love doing could still lead us to burnout if not checked.
Oh, wow.
And I think at some point I found myself in a space where I couldn't balance the entrepreneur in me and the minister in me. And so I'd keep taking up projects to help people, not necessarily gaining out of them, but just to help, especially ministers who would come my way and I find them sound, and I feel like, yeah, I can help you write a book.
Yeah.
So at some point I found myself in a space where I was so overwhelmed, and I think I didn't catch myself early enough.
Okay.
So it took me down the fatigue road, and I was getting a burnout. And one day, I remember walking into my husband's workplace. I think we were heading home, and I was supposed to pass by his place, pass by his work, and then head home together. But I sat in the car, I was feeling so overwhelmed. I still remember crying in the car. And I couldn't tell why I was. Actually, I wasn't crying, I was weeping, I was sobbing, I was giving up, and I said, I'm done, I'm so done. When he came and wondered why I was crying, I'm done with this publishing thing. I'm so done with it. I don't want to see any book. I don't want to take any new client. It's draining. It's no longer fulfilling. And I remember him calmly, very collected, looking at me and saying, it's okay, it's fine, just take a break. It's okay to take a break. If you feel overwhelmed, take a break. I don't think what you want is to give up. I think you're just tired. You just need to take a break into something else, and then look at your publishing thing as making chapatis. That's what he said.
Okay.
Because I love making chapatis. So he said, look at it as something that you love doing. But at this particular point, what you need is a break. And that was somewhere post-COVID. Maybe the lockdown and everything also was taking a toll on me. I don't know. But at that point, I took a break, and all I needed was to take a break into employment, into something totally different from writing, from publishing, from anything I had done before. And that's how I found myself in the ICT consulting space.
Okay.
To me, it was a good break. So I started applying for jobs, looking for something to do, and I stopped even writing my own books because I felt like, no, I just want something totally different, something I've not done before. But remember, in information sciences, I also had some scanty background of IT because it's not something I specialized in. So when I joined the ICT consulting firm, ICT Mentors, I found a very warm space, And then my colleagues were more than willing to walk the journey with me. I got amazing mentors in the field. And they believed so much in my abilities. They saw things in me that I didn't know existed. They saw what I could do that I didn't know I could actually do. And so slowly I graduated from doing, administration work. I started pursuing certifications in the ICT field.
Oh, wow.
Which was pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. As you speak, I'm currently one of the trainers in one of the fields, IT service management. And of course I run other roles in the space. But the thing is, when I took that break, it was so rejuvenating. And I was responding to your question of the lows, the burnouts, and then not being intentional. You remember the burnouts came from me taking up projects that were not paying, and so I'm draining myself into something that's not rewarding. And remember, this is during the COVID space as well, where people have lost jobs, where the economy has taken a so I think that was one of my lowest moments. I thought I had given up on it. But slowly, after now I started serving with the ICT consulting space, I found myself taking breaks into publishing again, which was now more exciting and more rewarding. And like they say, change is as good as rest. I felt like now I'm changing from this ICT space to this other thing. And I think I've kept it that way, trying to get a balance here and here so that I am not overwhelmed. Yeah.
So what can you say you're doing now that is different that you weren't doing before, that is helping you to basically bloom in the season of your life?
Wow. One, I am intentional on how many projects I take up.
Okay.
I don't want to fail as a mother, not get time for my children or family because I'm lost in writing and editing. But I also want to find some balance of sorts where I can do multiple things because I know myself to be multi-talented. So I can still pursue a career in the ICT consultancy while still helping people in the publishing space at my pace.
Okay.
Yes, so I think that has been a game changer for me, and also being self-aware. The other thing I have learned is to say no. Even when a business is thriving, it doesn't mean that you take up everything, all the projects that come your way, because eventually they could get overwhelming. I look at the example of tomato plant. A tomato plant could fall under the weight of its own fruit. The stem is not, the trunk or the stem is not strong enough to support the fruit. That is why it needs taking. So I think just being self-aware and knowing when I cannot take too much, that has been helpful, and it's helped me remain fruitful. Deliver quality while still thriving in my other spaces. Yes.
Okay, that's amazing. So before we now jump into basically the books and everything, I want you to maybe share with us, how have you been able to strike a balance? I know there's so many people out there who are already parents who desire to get into the entrepreneurial space. Some want to be authors, and others do not know how to maneuver. Someone is a mom, they have responsibilities towards their children, their husband also. They have now their personal life and also their dreams and their ambitions. And when someone thinks about all these aspects, they're like, how am I going to be able to handle this? So how have you been able to master striking a balance in being a wife, a mother, also handling writing, and also being in the ICT space, Because you wear so many hats. How have you been able to do it?
Well, that's quite interesting. I think part of what I've done is try to schedule what I could schedule. Okay? For example, next week schools will be closing.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at activities that I've already put in place. I know when I'm supposed to do like cooking, taking walks with my children, maybe in the evenings. When we can do the games, because most of what goes into parenting, especially when your children are young, I realize that we can easily get lost in homeworks and schoolworks and projects. But you want to create moments, random moments that help you bond with your children, that make you friends, so that you don't lose them as they grow up. And so creating those moments takes a lot of intentionality. So it is not something it is something I'm intentional about. So I schedule my timings. Sometimes I cancel meetings if I realize it's clashing with what I need to do with my children, so that I can afford them a moment. Try get home before they sleep, or leave after they have
Going to school.
After they have either gone to school or woken up, and try get at least a weekend in a month where we can just go out there and have fun. Well, most of the times, family Sundays are our family days, so we get to bond with the family. Just the four of us, my husband and our two daughters, go to church, come back, find a place to go to or something like that. So, but it's our space. So we're able to catch up, bond, share a meal. As a wife, maybe schedule weekly dates. With my husband. Our schedules can get so crazy. So it's possible to live under the same roof and not know what's happening with your spouse. So we try schedule weekly dates, or at least twice a week, where we get to catch up, know what's happening in our spaces. We get at least a day in a week where it's our prayer day, so we find out what's happening in your space. How can I pray about this? Just getting intentional. And then as time allows, we squeeze in other stuff huko katikati. Where we try to take walks, go cycling, go biking, anything that could help us bond. In the career space, again, like I said, particularly when it comes to the publishing space, because that one I have control over, I determine how many projects I take at a go. And if I must take up more projects than I think I can manage, I space them out, so that I don't give very tight timelines that will see me soaked in editing and publishing and books Monday to Monday, morning and evening. So I try regulate my timings. And then now in the ICT space, I changed roles. So most of the times with the clients in the field, or I'm training a group, and that I find very exciting. It's something I look forward to, as opposed to it being a draining thing. So I think that's how I try. I wouldn't say that I'm a pro yet, but you try, do what you can, and especially that's given all factors constant. There are days you're possibly sick, not able to do as much as you can, so taking a break, but ultimately I also make sure I'm doing something outside all those spaces that's recreational.
Okay, so when it comes to, now let's get to the brand aspect. How have you been able to build your brand? What are the many services under publishing that you offer? Because as much as you've written your own books, maybe you can share with our viewers, what are the many services under publishing that you offer?
All right, so my publishing business is known as Harrod Treasures. And Harrod Treasures has different wings to it. The main one being the publishing wing, and we do the self-publishing. So when you bring in your manuscript, we run through, we run it through the editing, the cover works, the design works, and then you decide whether to have it you decide whether to have hard copies done or whether you want to have it as a soft copy. Most of the times I guide the authors, right? Because most of the authors I've handled are budding authors. They are quite clueless about what goes into the process, so it takes lots of patience and bringing ideas together, because some books have ideas that are scattered all over the place, so you want to give it a logical flow, know the target audience, and make sure that the final product, product that you get finally is addressing the needs of the target group.
Yes.
For example, if you're doing a children's book, that would need to be well illustrated, the fonts would need to be maybe bigger or friendlier, as opposed to taking an academic project. Now that's part of it. The other thing we do in Harrow Treasures that I'm personally very passionate about is student mentorship. Now, given my personal life journey, I realized that most of the times when I've been through the lows of life, I've been my formative years. Remember, I lost my dad in high school.
Yeah.
And it is during my campus years that I get this sick, and someone had to hold my hand, walk with me, encourage me, show me a future that was still full of hope despite the situations that looked so bleak. So every time I sit with students, I see potential. I see them for what they could become, not their failures, not their current challenges. And then also, especially because I've been quite exposed to urban settings, I realize that most of the parents in the urban settings are very busy.
Yeah.
Genuinely so. And so they may not have as much time with their children. By the time you're waking up to the reality that your son is caught up or your daughter is caught up in pornography or drugs or something, it's a little too late.
Yeah.
What if someone worked with them? In the normal school setup, in the normal school programs. So I talk to schools to integrate mentorship in their systems, so that you have someone that is unfamiliar, not a parent, not a teacher, they know, coming to talk to them about certain topics. And some schools are different. There are schools that are doing very well academically, but students are lost in drug addiction. There are schools that are very disciplined students, but they are performing poorly in academics. So you tailor what is needed for each institution. But I also find myself in a space, because I do lots of student ministry, I also find myself in spaces where I have one-on-one talks with students. Maybe one of those that I could mention was a certain girl who came to me and she said, she was in Form 1, some couple of years back, and she says, I was introduced to lesbianism at the age of 9 by my best friend in school. And she says, because she's been raised by the mother gave birth to her and abandoned her, so she was raised by different relatives and in spaces where she wasn't safe enough to express herself. And she says at some point at around class 6, she joins, she's living with a relative who's Christian, and she's introduced to faith, and she wakes up to the reality that her first introduction to sexuality was wrong. And so she's trying to battle the thoughts of it now that she's in a boarding school and wondering how to navigate the space. And what I find quite disheartening is how parents are out of touch with such realities. Because possibly your job allows you to, is so demanding that you never have time for your children. And when you have time for them, you're doing assignments or you're overwhelmed by other projects at home. And so as a mentor to students, I just like sitting, listening to them. Some cases require referrals, so I refer those that I can. But just walking the journeys with them, seeing them gain clarity in their confusion, make career choices that would be helpful in building, grow in their faith, forgive their parents, reconcile with their family is such a fulfilling thing. So that's the other thing that we do in the Harrow Treasures outfit, just working with students in the student mentorship program, and also trying to see the other thing that has come up lately is trying to help the authors build journeys around their books, around their works, so that I have two of such books. Maybe I could mention this one called Seeds of Endless Possibilities by Lucy Moutier, and another one, Reclaiming Your Identity in Christ by Lydia Jamenya. So they've gone beyond writing books. They want to build a community that uses these books as tools for their personal development, tools for growth, Bible study materials. You know, whether you go beyond writing a book and just letting it out there, to walking journeys of transformation, using that as a tool. And so that is just about it. Yeah.
Okay, wow. That is amazing. And I am so happy to get to hear everything that you have been able to have in store for us. Just to push and maybe let our viewers know, where can they be able to find your books? Are they on Amazon? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have her number under the screen. You can reach out to her if you want to communicate, if you want to partner in a project, or maybe you're an author and you desire to grow in publishing. You can reach out to her and communicate so that she may be able to help you and maybe possibly mentor you if you're also an aspiring author, you haven't published any books at all, or you're looking to become a published author. So where can they get your books?
All right. So they could order via WhatsApp through my number. Check on Nuria Bookshop. You will also find quite a number of other published works by Harrow Treasures of Nuria Bookshop. Yeah, I think those are the most convenient avenues for now. I'm yet to put my books on Amazon, but I have several others who have uploaded their books on Amazon. I don't have the titles offhand, but I know there are books by Maureen Moturi, Susan, Ransom Tumishi, among others. So we still have, we're still growing.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, remember the number is under the screen. Make sure you contact her so that if you're looking to get your books published, she'll be able to get you sorted out on that. So before we wrap up, I'm curious. I need to ask you a question. What does thriving mean to you? Because the show is called Rise and Thrive. And I like to get that perspective from different people. What does thriving mean to you? And can you say you're thriving? Yes.
Wow, that's an interesting one. Well, thriving to me means you've gone beyond survival. You've gone beyond looking at life through your lenses, and about life is no longer about you and what you're getting from it. It's about what you're giving, what you're contributing to it.
Amazing.
It's about being in a space where you've been able to move, to transform your pain to purpose. You found reason. You may not have found all the whys to what you went through, to your scars, but you have lessons that are incredibly great that you could share out with someone else and walk the journeys with them. Am I thriving? Yes. I am. I think every morning I wake up wondering how I could make life better for someone else. Hoping that whoever interacts with me finds a reason to smile through another day, a reason to live through another challenge, a reason to keep hanging on even when all lights are red.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
a reason to keep hoping, keep
Mm.
trusting,
Mm.
and just knowing that the seasons of life are just that they're seasons,
Mm.
and they don't last forever,
Mm.
and sometimes we need them.
Yeah.
Some could be so humbling,
Mm.
but it's in the trenches that we find the roots of purpose running so deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, where do you see yourself, or rather, in the publishing industry? Let me call it that. Where do you see your brand in this industry within the next 5 years?
Wow. The global space,
Mm-hmm.
and with the current trends in the tech industry,
Mm-hmm.
hoping to make the best of technology
Yeah.
as an enabler to change, as a driver to value addition,
Mm.
just to make sure that we reach diverse
Mm.
audiences
Mm.
in diverse ways,
Mm.
and get to meet people in their spaces.
Yeah.
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 Because I think the secret about books is getting them to the right audiences.
Yeah.
Yeah, so driving change, driving purpose, and hoping to get more feedback on how we can improve. Yeah.
Wow, this has been such an great conversation. I have been able to learn quite a lot from you, especially with your very, very touching story, because I mean, you've really come from far, and we can tell that the glory of God is all over everything you're doing. And so I am very, very happy to have gotten to interact with you and getting to hear your story. Ladies and gentlemen, we would love to hear your comments and get to know what you think about Jane's story. Then again, if you want to have her books, make sure you reach out via the number down the screen. Reach out to her WhatsApp. You can purchase the book. Again, the books are...
We have In Pursuit of Him, The Dynamics of Prayer,
Yeah.
Seeds of Nurturing Seeds of Greatness, and then we have a poetry one called Poems of Intimacy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And just one last question. It popped in my mind. I want to pick your brain, but we know our time has much gone. But I want to ask you one final question. You know, one of the greatest people, basically in every career, I like to think are authors, because what they create tends to outlive them past the graves. You know, we have people like Miles Monroe. Like, knowledge never grows old. He's been dead for so long, but we have his books on stores. They literally outlive them. So what impact would you want to outlive you once you're gone?
Well, to leave a godly inheritance.
Yeah.
Yeah, just yesterday I was thinking about the scripture that talks about a righteous man leaves an inheritance for his children's children.
Yeah.
So looking at it, my daily prayer is that those who come behind me will find me faithful.
A great greater place. So thank you so much. Again, her contacts will be down on the screen. Make sure to reach out to her. Maybe you want to have a couple more questions. You're looking for a word of encouragement as an author who's been in the space and probably hasn't had a break, and she's here for you. You've had her story, she's had challenges, she's been able to push through it. So who is better to give you great advice other than Miss Jane? So thank you again. Make sure to reach out to me if you have a story, if you have a business that you want to be able to put out there in order for people to be able to get to know more about the services that you offer. Make sure to DM me at Miss Sila on Instagram, and also DM me on Facebook. The name is Faith Sila. Thank you again. Have a beautiful Monday. Till next time, have a lovely day.